Is the South African Champions Cup experiment about to end? Well, if reports be believed, that looks to be the case. Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports. Here myself, Charlie. A reminder before the video starts to please like, comment and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated to try and become a one-man sports news bandwagon. Yes, it's the age-old question that keeps on popping up in club rugby at the moment. How do you solve a problem like South Africa? For all the outstanding work that the Boks do on the international stage, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you as a rugby union fan. Their club game's a bit of a mess. And not a mess because it's clearly doing something right because they're the two-time world champions and universally recognised as the best team in the world. So it's not a mess as such, but I think more the administrative side is slightly messy, and obviously they now find themselves in the URC, which was always, I thought, a strange move. I've spoken about that quite a bit on the channel, and now it looks like, if rumours are to be believed, they are going to exit the Champions Cup, the premier European competition for club rugby, and the Challenge Cup as well, of course, the second tier of that. Now, I think for starters, that's due to the fact that a lot of their their bodies are under a serious amount of pressure. They pretty much play rugby year-round, South Africa, and I think it's fair enough to say that they do need some rest. With the travel, with everything else that goes on, they do need to take them breaks, especially when you factor in as well that potentially, you know, these players, the other option is basically South African sides play a weakened sides, which then makes the competition watered down. And we've seen that in previous years now, where I remember when the Blue Bulls came to Saints and they left, I think it was 8 Springboks at home, and that was for a European, I mean, we used the phrase European, but that was for a European quarter-final, I think, if I remember rightly. But they left a lot of Boks at home, which then affects the quality of the competition as well. As well as that, South African teams do have as well that they are less financially well off than some European sides. They don't necessarily have the infrastructure to take their whole team, their whole squad, their whole personnel to Europe all the time to go to these different places. And I think if you could cost effectively cut down on those trips, then why wouldn't you? What this means for the URC, I don't know. And what this means for the South African clubs, I don't know. Because what I think makes it very complicated is, now do you say to these teams, oh, well, even if you finish 4th or 3rd, which is an automatic Champions Cup place, you can't take it, it goes to the next team below. That's I think, for me, the scenario that the URC have got to sort of solve. I think it's hard for South Africa because they're based in Africa and they are by far and away the premier nation in Africa. They're not like New Zealand, who have got Australia over the Tasman Sea. They're not like England and Wales who've got 4 rugby playing nations on the same isles, and France over the road. Like, they're always going to have to travel regardless of where they go, whether that's Sanzar or in Europe. I mean, the other thing is, and the wild thing I've read, is that they want to as well potentially join the Six Nations. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how logistically that would work. I don't think it would work. But that has been something else that's been spoken about during these talks, allegedly, that they could, South Africa have sort of got one eye on potentially doing that as well. There needs to be, I think, an alignment of the calendar, full stop. And I think this highlights that as well, because, like I say, South Africa with the Rugby Championship as well are playing rugby year-round, the Boks. It's not fair. 11 out of 12 months of playing rugby. There needs to be some form of global alignment. Rugby Championship Six Nations take place at the same time for me. That's been an obvious for a long time. I know people will argue about times and everything else and broadcasting, but I just think that's an obvious solution to part of this. Like I say, it's interesting for the Champions Cup. Where do they go next? I mean, hopefully they'll redo the format, because I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the current one. Perhaps as well redo the TV deal if one of the big URC teams is coming out of it. But like I said, the talk is that South Africa are going to come out of the Champions Cup. What it means is yet to be decided. It's all very much rumours and whispers at the moment, but I, for one, am very intrigued to see how it goes and what the next steps taken by European Club Rugby are to see how this issue is resolved. As always, guys, let us know what you think. Please like, comment and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon. As always, have a great day.